Oh, good day everyone, it's Warren from Australian Airline Model Railways, where we're modelling New South Wales HO gauge DC in the late 80s and early 90s on a budget. Today we'll look at the wagon fleet. Some of my goods wagons. This is one of my original 1980s Lima ELX, which I've weathered a bit, and I've put metal wheels on that. I don't remember it even came with metal wheels. It may have done, but it's definitely got metal wheels on it now. So that's the grey ELX with a couple of those Lima containers, which have unfortunately faded a little bit over the years. I'll weather those and tart them up a bit, and we'll put KDs on that wagon. Now back to these Powerline, Freightline budget models. This is a ripper. I got this one for $20. That's the NOBX open wagon, the New South Wales wagon. That'll be weathered and detailed. I've got the Australian National open wagon. I mean, all these wagons were seen running through New South Wales in the 80s. And this one's a flat container wagon with 3 containers, which desperately need a bit of weathering and maybe a few decals on there to change their branding. And I'll add a couple of different styles of containers to my other flat wagons. All of these are budget wagons that are kind of a generic style. I'll put some code boards on there and they'll look the part. So that's some of the freight fleet. I've got a couple of these container flat wagons. This one's Victorian Railways livery. One thing I find about the hobby, the shipping containers are terribly expensive to buy, proprietary shipping containers, but I'm working on that. I'll just get a collection of containers going so I can vary the look of the train by changing the containers as it runs around the layout. But that's a nice model once again. Good size, prototypical wagon with KDs both ends and metal wheel sets. Now these are nice models. These are the Powerline Victorian Railways grain wagons. Beautifully detailed, reasonably priced. They've even got chains and ladders and the brake wheels and all that's fitted with KDs. Just beautiful little wagons. Nice mesh deck on the top, which I like the way that's actually distorted and a little bit out of shape. And that's the V-Line grain livery. And this one, Victorian Railways GJF 202. So these can be added to my New South Wales rate because these wagons in the 80s often made their way into New South Wales until they needed a bit of maintenance and they sent them south again. The Victorians stopped them crossing the border. I think they changed the bogies on them and prevented them from going through the bogie exchange, so they stayed on the broad gauge. But anyway, there's some nice wagons from Powerline that add to my wheat flour theme that the main trains will be running on the layout. Now these next wagons are some of my favourites and I find them very interesting, and the history of them fascinates me, and I'm a kind of a collector of these wheat wagons. Now they're not prototypical Australian wagons. They've been mass produced, I believe, from an American prototype, so they're probably slightly out of gauge. They're quite tall, but they look great on a layout and they're branded Australian colours. Now, it started with this. I've got 5 of these. They're not all shown here. These Manildra Flour Mills wagons I bought in the mid-80s or late 80s. They were marketed by Trax. I've still got the original Trax box for this one. And they were made by Play Art in Hong Kong. They've actually branded Play Art Hong Kong under one of these, behind these bogies. So at some point, Play Art Hong Kong, well, they went broke apparently. They don't make toys anymore or model railways. And now Powerline budget Freightline system has marketed the same wagon, remoulded. I think these ones are made in Macau, but I'll check that in a minute. Exactly the same wagon, and you can get this one. All of my originals had Manildra Flour Mills. There's a Manildra Starches wagon, which I haven't got, but I'm looking for that. And then they also did it when Powerline took over in their budget Freightline line of wagons, an Australian National wagon, a West Rail wagon, and the Freight Rail New South Wales wagons, which they've got a NGDX code on it. Now, I've bought some HO scale ladders and things. I'm going to detail these and make them look a little bit more prototypical, and I'm going to weather them quite heavily because these wagons do take a beating, and they're usually covered in graffiti too. I've actually got these off eBay. It's NGHF code boards. Look, they roughly equate to an NGHF without the protective covers on the end, but I'll stick a ladder on the end. I'll put KDs on it and metal wheel sets. I might even put different bogies on it, I'm not sure. I'll stick with these moulded bogies as they are, but I'll put metal wheel sets in them. I just find these fascinating. That's a 40-year-old model. Play-Art moulded that probably from a North American outline wagon, and then at some point Freightline took over from Trax and moulded the wagon in Australian colours. So in total I've got 8 of these wagons, and I'm going to get some more. They're relatively inexpensive. You can get them on eBay. Some people tend to charge a little bit too much for them, but they are quite collectible in my eye. But anyway, they look great on an Australian layout. So that's my flour wagons and grain wagons that I'll be running to my flour mill and Western New South Wales wheat silo. Now the passenger stock, this is one of my favourites. This is one I bought back in the 80s. It's a Lima Tam sleeping carriage. Just looks right. And recently I've purchased a second-hand MFE with the silver roof and the State Rail logo. I think that might be a Hornby production. After Lima went, well, they bought Lima went out of business, and Hornby took over and reissued some of the models. So as you can see, it's got the toilet area blanked off, and it's recoded, and it's got the SRA logo. That's a nice wagon. 12 metal wheels, runs really well. I'll put KDs on these two. And now I've also got some Powerline Candy passenger stock to run behind the 48 as a branch line mail train. We'll have a look at those now. Okay, this is my branch line mail train. I'll probably might hook one of those Lima carriages to it too if I want to make it longer one day when there's more patronage on the track. So the Powerline Candy BS coach, and I've got the KB parcels van. I've actually got 2 of these. One came with the 81 class that you might have seen in my earlier video, and the MHO guards van. These were converted to KBs later in life from what I understand, but you can see this has got the dog box ventilation on the ends and the centre door for the guard and the little ducats on the side. They look really good. Very prototypical in New South Wales in the period of modelling. Look great with a little bit of weathering. Candy tended to fade and get very dirty, so they need to be weathered, these wagons. So that's the passenger stock. And the last one is my XPT set. Okay, my premier passenger stock will be the Lima XPT. Now when Lima made these, they really hit their straps. You can see they're fully flush glazed. They've got internal, all the internal seating and tables are in there, so I'm going to purchase some LED lighting and light these so that they can be lit when running. Now I'm not running DCC, so that'll just be a battery and a switch or some arrangement. There's plenty of room in the carriage to do that sort of thing. So the basic Lima XPT set, yes, it was just a repaint of the British HST, but it looks great on the layout. And as I said, this is budget modelling. As you can see, the old girl's been in storage for a long time, a little bit of scratching going on, but that'll weather really well because they did get grimy, because they worked hard, and they still are. They just were non-stop all around New South Wales, north, south and west. That's the dummy car that goes at the back, and the motor car which I'll service. I'll service the motor and lubricate that, and we'll get it running really nicely and smoothly. But they're good looking models, look good in an Aussie layout, and they fit in with my budget requirements. Okay, well, thanks for watching my video on my rolling stock. My next video will be on the baseboard build. I'm at the point now where I'm about to commence the wiring and track laying. Thanks for watching and commenting. Bye for now.